Welcome to Trainz! Hey there, friends, and welcome to Trainz Reviews. My name is Kevin, and today we're going to be taking a look at this Broadway Limited hybrid model. It's a Pennsylvania Railroad Q2. Now, for those of you who watched one of our earlier episodes, we looked at a Q1, which was a 4644 duplex drive. This one is a freight only 4464. And whereas the Q1, they only built a single example, the Q2, they ended up building a prototype and then 25 production models. So a more successful example of duplex drive for the Pennsy. This particular model, of course, comes with its user manual here. I'm not gonna open that up. Don't want to get my greasy fingers on it. Although, I swear, I wash my hands before I do this. Try and cut down on the finger oils. Off with the phone, and then let's see what we got. Gently, gently, come on. The box itself, let's see, we also have a little funnel. Can you come out? Come on out, funnel. It's okay. Little funnel for our smoke fluid. So we'll put those back in there nice and neat where they belong. And get that box out of the way. All right, let's start with the tender, if I don't mistake. So yes, Pennsy had a rough time with duplex drive. Their first example was the S1, which was a 6446. It had a huge rigid wheelbase, which meant it was extremely limited on where it could travel in the Pennsy system. They had the T1 4444, which had a pretty good track record as being a freight locomotive. Although I think they also used it for passenger stuff too. Actually, I might be wrong. I think the 4444 was just passengers. You let me know in the comments, okay? They had the Q1 and now the Q2. One of the biggest differences between the Q1 and the Q2 is the placement of the second set of cylinders. On the Q1, they had the first set up front where you would find them in a conventional locomotive. And then they had the second set. I want to put my fingers carefully so I don't crush any details. They put the second set in the Q1 back by the firebox. Now the problem with that is it creates a conflict between why you have really big cylinders for power and why you have a really big firebox to generate that power that the steam is trying to put down. Having the cylinders in the back also exposed them to extreme heat, soot, ash. The lubrication oil got really nasty really fast. And with this one, with the Q2, they shifted so that the second set of cylinders is now in the middle of the locomotive. Now that does mean it has a longer wheelbase, a longer rigid wheelbase. So the Q2 was a more successful example, as evidenced by 26 in operation. The model itself, I mean, it's a gorgeous Broadway Limited model. And it's one of their hybrid lines, so it's got brass level detail, and it's gorgeous to look at. We have my favorite style of tender, this huge thing, with individual pieces of coal applied. And we've got some detail labels on the back. It does have a scoop for pulling up liquid along the way, the little brake house for the brakeman on the back. Speaking of the scoop, they went so far as to model the scoop on the bottom of the tender. Isn't that so cool? I love the detail on these things. Now let's take a look at the locomotive proper. Well, we do have lots of molded in detail, and it looks like a few pieces have been separately applied to get that kind of delicate spidery look of the steam piping in there. The cab design itself, it has that lovely streamlined window that I like so much for the Pennsylvania Railroad locomotives at this time. Semi-streamlined, I guess you could say, a skyline casing, I think some people would call it. So not as much detail on the top of the locomotive. We do have the smokestack, little sand doors, safety valves, a whistle. The front of the locomotive has the keystone in the middle of the smoke box door, the bell at the top, and the light all the way there. Functioning couplers in the front of the locomotive and on the back of the tender, of course, for all your pulling needs. Now, for those of you interested in this particular model, the SKU for Trainz is a 585-2249. List price is $1541.99, but at time of filming, this guy is available for $1297.58. It's a decent price savings. And I know we're all trying to save money right now. Now, those of you who remember your early 90s Subaru ads, they talked about from the wheels that slip to the wheels that grip. Believe it or not, Penske had an anti-slip system on this duplex locomotive. One of the biggest problems was that the reciprocating machinery for the front set of drivers and the rear set of drivers could slip due to lack of adhesion at different times. Pulling back the throttle, trying to isolate which set is slipping versus not. I think in the Q1, you ended up with a lot of stalls. So they added anti-slip to this locomotive. A fascinating application of engineering, if I do say so myself. So until we see you again, have a great week.
Trainz.com. Making dreams come true. One train at a time.